Okay, welcome everybody. We're going to take a look at analogous colors. And if you remember from the brief demo discussion we had, we said that analogous colors are families of colors. Usually 3 to 5 colors exist in that family, and they're next to each other on the color wheel. So we're going to take a look at putting together a couple sets of analogous colors based on our 3 primary colors, and we're going to talk about how to make those up. So the first one we're going to look at is going to be an analogous color scheme with our red. So we're going to put our red in the center here. So I want everyone to put our red in the center. And hopefully you've already pre-made 5 circular forms next to each other like you see in my example here. And then we're going to look at our color wheel to get an idea of where we want to go and in what direction. So we initially said, if we look back at our color wheel from our previous lesson, I'll grab that out right now real quick. We're going to have red, and we're going to look at the colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. For this one, we're going to use our 12 color wheel, not our 6 color one that we have here. We're going to look at the colors that are in between each of our primary and secondary. So we're going to go primary, and then we're going to go to the right and look at what's between red and orange. That would be our red orange, or otherwise known as our poppy orange. We're going to put that in there. We're also going to indicate with an I that this is an intermediate color, a mixing of a primary and a secondary. And next to our red-orange would be our orange. And we'll put that in there. And our orange is considered a secondary color. So we went to the right of red and used each color that we find on the color wheel. And this is, we said, a secondary color, which is 2 primary colors mixed together to form a secondary. Now, if we go to the left of red, between red and violet, we get a red-violet. A red-violet is also known as a mulberry in our Prismacolor pencils, for those of you using Prismacolor pencils. If you don't have Prismacolors, remember we're going to mix 1 part red, 1 part violet, and then over each other, and then go back and finish it off with red. And we're using like a 2-3 pressure. We said we don't want to go too hard and put too much wax buildup on there. So we have our red violet, and next to our red violet we would have our violet. So we'll put that in here, and this will be our first family of analogous colors. Again, we're going with 5, but it's the definition is 3 to 5 colors next to each other on the color wheel to form a family. Moving down, we're going to go to blue. So we'll put blue in our next middle circle for our primary, and again I use P as a signal for our primary, an I for intermediate, and an S for secondary. So you can put the same little letters underneath just so you can get an idea of what you are using. All right, and remember we're going primary, intermediate, secondary. So between blue and violet we have what's known as the blue violet, or in Prismacolor a violet blue. We don't see a big color change here, but there definitely is a little more purple content or violet content in this color pencil. Most of you who have Prismacolor sets of at least 24 will have this color in there. Those of you who are using the 12 color set that I provided will be doing some mixing, again of 1 part blue, 1 part violet, and then finished off with the blue over the top. So next to our blue violet would be our purple. And we'll put our purple in there, or our violet. Get that placed in there. And when we're coloring with our colored pencils, remember we want to keep the tip sharp, we want to get good coverage. we want to be sure that we're getting all the white specks out. And again, for my demo, I'm moving a little bit faster than I normally would for time's sake, but just remember what it is to do good color, and you have to take a little bit of time there. All right, so between blue, if we go to the left of blue, we've got blue and green. In between blue and green, we have a blue-green, and that is also known as aquamarine if we're using Prismacolors. And if we don't have Prismacolors, again, you're making these by 1 part blue, 1 part green, and then going back over with the blue. You can also go 1 part green, 1 part blue, and go back over with the green. All right. Your version might be a little darker than mine if you're having to mix, but again, that's okay. Next to blue-green would be our green, or grass green if we're using Prismacolors. And again, we're trying to get a good coverage, sharp tip. If you notice, my pencil tips are sharp. I keep them keep a pencil sharp when they're close at hand, and you know, I'm trying to wear down one side, but then I'm rotating my pencil as well. And we'll talk more about that in one of our next videos about using colored pencils. For now, we're just filling in our different color schemes here. All right, so that's the second family we're going to look at. The next one, we're going to finish it off with our last primary color, which is yellow. So yellow, or Prismacolors version, is canary yellow. And you might see me working in little tight circles here with my colored pencil because I'm working inside of a circular form. So I'm kind of trying to keep that same contour. You can go up and down, side to side if you want. It's up to you. I start off usually in small circles, and then I'll change up and do a couple different directions because I want to be sure in the end that I get out all the grain there. So if I go to my right of my yellow, I would have a yellow-green, and yellow-green in Prismas is known as apple green. And again, sharp tip, 2-3 pressure, trying to get good coverage, take out all the grain, blocking out all the white of the paper. So the only thing we see is our color on the surface. Again, I'm going to keep hammering that home for you guys because I want you to become good colors. I want you to understand that patience is needed. You want to go back and forth, side to side, figure eight, small circles, whatever is comfortable to you. But at the end of the day, we want to try to make sure we get good coverage. Next to our yellow-green, we're going to have, again, our grass green. And put that in here. Again, small circles going along the edge there, a little curved approach here just to keep in my shape. Again, back again to that house where in your yard you have a fence to keep in a dog. Same thing, we want to keep our color inside of our shape. We don't want it to get outside and sloppy. We want to be nice and neat. Again, once I've got good coverage, I'm going back and forth, side to side, figure eights where I have to, a little bit more you know, carefulness or attention paid to the edges so I don't jump out of the shape. But then there we go. Now if I go to the left of our yellow, we would have a yellow-orange, otherwise known as Spanish orange or a yellowed orange in Prisma. And again, you can get all these colors with the set of 12 that I provided you on Art Supply Pickup Day. Again, a little bit more work has to go into it because you're layering yellow, then you're going to put orange over the top of it, and then you're going to go back over with yellow to get a yellowed orange look. Okay, so all of these are able to be done if you don't have Prismacolors by just taking a couple extra moments to layer some colors over one another. Again, to get this color, you would take a yellow, some orange, back over with yellow. Then finally, next to our yellow-orange, we would have orange. And we'll get that in here. And we'll have our 3 sets of analogous colors. Now that you can get more, you can do different versions. I'm just starting you off with these 3 because they're centered off of these of our primary colors here. And again, I'm going to go in and put some lettering in just so you know kind of what we're doing. Again, I'm using the primaries, secondaries, and intermediates to form these color schemes here. So if I just grab a pencil real quick, we've got a primary, we've got an intermediate, we've got a secondary. We've got a primary, we've got an intermediate, we've got a secondary. Same thing over here, we've got an intermediate, secondary, intermediate, secondary, intermediate, secondary. Okay, so again, they're all centered around our three primary colors, and we can do different versions, different arrangements, but these are our three basic ones that we're going to touch on today. Okay, so again, this is our analogous color schemes. Keep in mind that this is 3 to 5 colors, and we're going to say they're next to each other on the color wheel, right? So 3 to 5 colors next to each other on the color wheel to form a family of color.